fall is definitely here. I'm out in the snow. I'm at a KOA because I have a hookup here and I can keep my pipes from freezing. I'm hoping it leaves just as fast as it came. It's really pretty out here, but it's also cold, so I'm gonna run inside and do your view cue. Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another Sunday morning View Queue, where I answer all the best viewer questions from the View Queue 2 weeks ago. So if you have a question for me, please do put it in the comments below, and I'm going to jump right into the questions today, even though it's pretty windy outside and you guys can probably hear me shaking around. The funny thing is that I'm in the mountains, and out that window there's blue skies, and out this window it's snowing. The Rockies. This is how it goes. Okay. So thank you for all your well wishes. My cold is almost gone. It's the same stupid crud everybody has. But last time when I did the View Queue, in the intro, I did say I was going to answer a question about telling your insurance agent if you're a full-timer. And then the View Queue was 26 minutes long, and I cut it out and forgot that I said something about it in the intro. So my apologies to everybody. I know that that was a little bit confusing, and I'm going to answer it right here. But really quick, if you go into my playlist under Be a Nomad, Change Your Life, which is an actual playlist, not just the title of my book, you're going to see an entire video called The 101 of RV Insurance, where I go through every single coverage. And at about minute 12, I do talk about the full-time thing. So if you want a longer explanation of everything, please go there. Hi, buddy. Do you guys see this pillow I got? Because it looks like the boy. Okay, so in the last View Queue, a lady said that a salesman that she was working with to buy an RV told her not to tell her insurance agent that she was in an RV full-time because it makes it so expensive. Well, I have a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, do absolutely tell your carrier that you're full-time in your RV, because if you don't, they can't give you the right kind of coverages, and then you're not going to be covered. So like if your property is destroyed, or you have some kind of a liability as a full-timer that you wouldn't have as like a homeowner where you have other liability, it's important to get the right stuff. And I will tell you this, not every insurance company wants every kind of business. So let's say you're with State Farm, and what they want is, 2 cars and a house and a college savings plan. Maybe that's not you, but another carrier does want that business, and different companies or carriers price themselves accordingly. So if you call your regular insurance guy and say, hey, I'm full-time in an RV, and he says, 1, we don't accept that, or B, it's so expensive you can't afford it, then move on, because there are carriers that do want our business and do offer the right kinds of coverages. I've told you guys before, personally, I'm with Progressive. They do have the appetite for that kind of business, but there are other carriers, especially some independent carriers. You can find one through Good Sam that they partner with that has the full-timers liability and property coverage and all that kind of stuff. And it does not have to be expensive, you guys. My full-time RV insurance on my new rig is less than it was for my car insurance in Colorado. So there's that. And the other thing I want to say to you is that I would be wary of any sales guy that tells me to lie, because that just makes me think he's a liar. So, wasn't it Maya Angelou that said people always tell you who they are, you just have to listen? So that's the answer on that one. Sorry again for that foul up. I am going to go ahead and plead NyQuil. I was on some serious cold medicine when I did that View Queue, and especially when I edited it. So thank you for letting me clear that up. Okay, moving on. Wendy Carter says, hey girlfriend, didn't know about putting oil in my generator. Would have never thought of it. How do you put oil in an Onan 4000 generator? Can you do a quick how-to on that for me? Love ya. Thank you. Okay, Wendy, listen. You guys know that I was not like an RV person. I was a writer. I had to learn all of this myself, so don't worry that you didn't know about the oil in the generator. My friend Carol, that I went to Mexico with, if you guys have seen that video, hey Carol, actually showed me how to do the oil in my generator for the first time. So it's just like a car. There's a dipstick, you know, you want to push it in, pull it out, clean it off, push it back in to get the right reading. I have found on my generator I need pliers to do that. It doesn't come out or go in as easily as it did on my car. So you want to have it as close to the max fill line as you can. And there is all kinds of stuff out there in forums that say to underfill your generator, because if you even fill it up to max, it doesn't work right. But I've seen information like that all over the board. But I will tell you one thing that I have learned. If you pull out the stick and it looks a little bit goopy, then at least for me, my generator did not work as well. You want it to be nice and slick looking like it is when it comes out of the bottle. To me, that's when it works better. So just get a little funnel. At least on mine, it has to be a really skinny funnel. That was the hard part about what I had to find in order to work in my generator. And then I just keep the right kind of oil handy in case I get low, and every once in a while I fill it up. Now you're going to want to look at your own manual to see if there's instructions on this and what kind of actual oil you want to put in. Okay, Julie Hansen says, Robin, love your videos. Thank you so much. Question, you did a video a little over a year ago on a solar oven, something like a Solar Sport. Just wondering if you still have it and use it. Thanks. Yes. I love, 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 love my solar oven. I have a whole video about that too, where I show you guys all kinds of stuff that I fix in it. The sad thing is that the company that I went through for my solar oven, which I just love, went out of business. I do have a model similar to mine on my Amazon gear page. It's a little bit bigger, but I have to tell you guys, it works great. Even like today, I have a hookup because it's below freezing out there and I didn't want my pipes to freeze. Even on days like this when it's sunny, I can cook in my solar cooker. And I can make things in my Instant Pot or on the stovetop, but it is not the same as the solar cooker. It makes things all like brown and caramelized. So if you like that, absolutely worth it. Although I'll tell you, they do take up some space when you're in a smaller rig like mine. Okay, Sharon Lynn says, I'm loving your videos and learning so much. Thank you so much, Sharon. My question is about your thoughts on personalized license plates. I have one in mind that no one has used in my state yet. As much as I would like to use it, I have a feeling that I would prefer to be more anonymous out there on the road. I would be interested in your thoughts on this subject. Well, you know, I remember that my friend Tiki from Find It with Tiki, Organizational Genius, had a really good personalized plate. I get it. I see them on rigs all the time, and I think that they're funny. I just think it depends on your style of camping. For me personally, I wouldn't do it because I do want to be as anonymous as possible, especially since I'm on YouTube. And if I showed my license plate, then, you know, people would come up and knock on my door more than they already do. So do what feels good to you. For me, a personalized one would not feel good. But if it feels good to you, I say do it. Does anybody else have thoughts on this? Please put them down below. Have you done it? And has there been any problem because you did it? Okay, Laura B says, I've watched all your videos, and oh, she got the Berkey and the quick set clam, which I love both those things, through my links. Thank you for that. And she's asked this question twice, and this is another one that I had to cut out last time, so sorry about that, Laura. But she says this, how do you minimize or mitigate your blue light exposure while using your phone or computer? I too would like to pursue an income through blogging, vlogging, but I've heard there are some serious health issues resulting from blue light exposure. Much appreciated. Okay, well, these are, you know, my standard readers, but when I work on the computer, which I do for many, many hours, I actually do have like transitional readers that mitigate the blue light exposure. Besides that, you know, I use eye drops and I get a lot of sunshine, at least I try to. So if my eyes start to get tired, I go out and I sit in the sun with sunscreen. And I have a feeling that fresh air and a big glass of water and sunshine can fix almost anything or undo a lot of stuff. And so that's how I mitigate my blue light exposure. If anyone else is concerned about that, you know, if you do work in your rig, you might be in front of your computer a lot. So it's, you know, a legit question for us. Okay, this is my favorite one from this time because of a couple reasons. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, hey Robin, says Megan, longtime follower here. I'm hoping to buy my Class C and hit the road in May. Congrats. Please let us know how it goes. Here's my question. So I'm in a bunch of RV groups on Facebook, and I keep seeing a bunch of chatter about mice. I can never tell if these people get them while their RV sits in a driveway or stationary somewhere, or from campgrounds or boondocking. How common is it to get mice or other critters? How do you deal as a solo female? I bet the big boy helps. Okay, well, listen to me. This dude has no interest at all in catching mice. This dude actually left me like a headless bird one time in my laundry hamper. But now he won't even catch a fly. So no, the boy does not help at all. Although I have read that the smell of kitty litter actually makes mice go away because they know that it's a cat. But I don't know if there's any scientific basis behind that. So listen, yes, mice get into rigs and cars because it's warmer or there's food if your food isn't stored right. But so do squirrels and other kinds of critters. So I'm going to tell you that personally, in the time I've been on the road, I've never had a mouse get into my house. And I did read early on that dryer sheets help with that. Now, I know some of you are going to jump on below and say the dryer sheets don't work. I've seen recent stuff that says that it works and stuff that it doesn't. All I can tell you is that people do say, including like Orkin, that mice don't like the smell of dryer sheets, but the smell goes away in a couple days, so you have to keep swapping them out. I get the really stanky dryer sheets from the dollar store that I don't use in my laundry. I just use them to put in my cabinets. So in the under cabinets, about every month, I swap out the old dryer sheet and I put the new one in. I also try and store my food really well so that mice can't get into the food. I lived in Costa Rica for a year and learned that there because if there's any food out anywhere, they will get in there. But I will tell you this. Last year I was leaving Moab and I opened up my outside bin and I found a little mummified dead mouse that was stuck in between the seal that goes around my bin and the door of the bin. So it was trying to get inside and got stuck there and died. And I'm telling you, girl, it was gnarly. I had to get a stick and like break its little mummified body out of that crack. And after that, I did find some poop inside of that bin. So there were mice in there, but somehow they did not get up into my rig. I do know that if you are having a problem, you should look for holes and put like spray foam in those holes or some wire like mesh because they can't chew through it. But I'm going to tell you another thing I think has really helped is that last year, actually last September, like 30th, I was camping in the same place I'm camping now, which is pretty close to September. And that's when a hobo spider got into my rig and launched itself through the air at me, which is a really dangerous spider. They only come inside in September to mate, and they're only aggressive when they're eating or mating, which mine was doing. So he was freaking aggressive. So after that, I got a bunch of natural spray oil, including peppermint, cinnamon, it's got cayenne in it, all kinds of stuff that's supposed to get rid of a bunch of different types of insects. If I'm going to be sitting somewhere for a while, I try to remember, I'm not always perfect, but I try to remember to take that spray, which I keep in an outside bin, and just spray around like my tires and the outside of my rig where things would come up into my rig, including spiders. And I've heard that those types of sprays, especially with peppermint, also help with mice. I want to tell you guys a funny story, and also this relates back to your insurance coverage. So my battery died when I was in Sisters, Oregon, and I had to work to find somebody that would come out and jump my battery. But somebody did. I've got more on that later. I had some problems with my battery. But the guy came out and he jumped my battery, and I had been there like 10 days in that spot. And the guy said to me, hey, you've got something living in your engine because there's a nest over there. Now, I looked over in the corner and clearly there was a squirrel nest, right? So if you guys don't know, for your car or your RV engine, critters will crawl up in there like squirrels or mice or rabbits sometimes because it's warmer in there, and they'll nest in there. And if they do, they have a tendency to eat the wires, especially squirrels will eat the wires inside of your engine. And most people don't know that that's covered under your comprehensive coverage on your insurance. So if you do have full coverage insurance, which means you have collision and comprehensive, it would be covered under comprehensive, and those claims don't count against you. So if that happens, do claim that. Anyway, I digress. So after the guy left, I took a stick and I tried to clean out the nest that was in there, and there was no squirrel sitting right there. But as soon as I started going like this squirrel went and like ran all the way around the inside of the engine like it was on a track and then out, and I freaking screamed. I wish that I had a shot of that, but of course I don't carry my camera with me everywhere. But that was funny. So yeah, things have been trying to get in here. They just have not gotten all the way in here. If anybody else has any solutions or any funny stories about that, please do put them in the comments below. All right, you guys, 2 more questions, and they are fantastic. Tina Marie says, I'm now full-time, period. How long do I give it before I decide whether or not this is for me? Right out of the gate, I've had one issue after another. It's expensive and emotionally draining at times. Haven't hit the but it's worth it phase yet. Hoping to find a tribe of like-minded creative people who just want to travel and boondock. Not interested in hooking up, and I'm not talking about water and electric. It's all a bit overwhelming. Help. Okay, here's the thing. There is a learning curve when you hit the road, and you are learning all kinds of new stuff. I do talk about this in my book at length. There are studies for like expats, like expatriates that move to a new country and they have to learn a new culture or a new set of skills and what happens to you emotionally. I actually have a really good friend who had been on the road 6 months recently and called me and said, I'm just not having a good time. And I told her about this, and she wrote me a couple of months later and said, thanks so much for that talk, because that scale was absolutely right. Let's say that you're dreaming about a new life, right? And you're excited, and you go out on the road and your happiness level is like right here, right? You go out on the road and your happiness actually does go up a little bit because you're doing it, right? Everything's new, everything's exciting. But then about the 1 month mark, it depends on what your situation is, 2-3 months, that peaks. And then you take a very rapid dive. And that dive usually peaks out for most people at around 6 months. And so here you were normally in your happiness level. You go up and then you end up way more unhappy than you were when you started. The reason is that there's like a culture shock. There's a learning curve. You have to learn so much and everything seems hard, or things don't work out the way you think that they're going to. But what happens is if you can write out that 6 month period, and I'm not saying you should, do what's right for you, but you write out that 6 month period and you go back up and you end up being just as happy as you were in the beginning. So that's called like an expatriate happiness scale. You go up, you take a dive down, and then you even out. That has absolutely been the case for me and several people that I know. So I hope that you hit the it's worth it stage. Please write back and let us know what kind of problems you're having. Maybe the community here can help and I can help. Sometimes it's good when you're having a lot of problems, I think, to just sit for a couple weeks. Don't keep moving. If you're having some kind of a problem with a certain thing, don't use that thing. Just sit outside in your chair, ground your feet, remember that you're actually doing this, and it does get better. I promise you that it does. I hope that it gets better for you. Please let us know how you're feeling about it. This life is not for everybody, but after you get past the learning curve, for most of us, I would say it's really worth it, which leads me to the next and final question. Barty Chloe, or Bart Chloe, said, you've been out and around a wide variety of full-timers. There are some full-timers who are lifers, and they have no intention after 10 years or more of ever giving it up. But Wendy. But I suspect you've had a conversation with friends about full-timers who have decided to pack it in and go back to a sticks and bricks life. In those conversations, have you figured out an average time for those who are going to decide to leave the full-time life and go back? I will tell you this is totally individual. And you guys know that I've been working on another project where I've been interviewing all kinds of nomads. I've been doing it since before I did YouTube, and I have interviewed dozens of nomads now, full-timers who are in different economic situations, different ages, different jobs, different geographies. And I'll tell you, I've never met one person that packed it in and stopped. Although, if they packed it in and stopped, I'm not meeting them on the road, right? But I will tell you that there is a change that I see in some people, which I think is more common. I do know a few people that for their first year or two, like went, and they wanted to see all kinds of stuff. And now maybe they spend 6 months in a long-term visitor area, like in Arizona. Or another friend of mine actually bought a property that had an RV pad and fixed up an old fifth wheel, and now She full-time's at a fifth wheel, but she's sedentary. So I guess that kind of splits the difference. But like I've said before, I think that this is just another housing option. And I don't think it's forever for everybody. In fact, I'd be surprised if it was forever for anybody. Because there's going to come a time for maybe all of us where, you know, we're old or infirm, or we're just sick of it. And sometimes those people will take their rig and go live in an RV park. And sometimes they'll sell it and go back to a regular life. I just haven't met anybody who's done it yet. And I'll tell you that for me, every month that I'm on the road, the more certain that I am that there are years and years of this ahead of me. Don't let anybody or what anybody else does influence what you want to do. Look at it both ways. This is what I think, and do what feels best. As always, I appreciate all your great questions. Please do put a question below for the next ViewQ if you've got one for me. Share this with your friends if you think they can use any of this information. And give this video a thumbs up. It helps other people discover it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until I see you on the road, I hope you're all having happy travels out there. Stay warm and be free.